Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. On today's tutorial, we'll share with you guys how to make a top that has a twist by the side and a one sleeve. Okay, so if that is what you're here for, make sure you stick to the end, and also do not forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment in the comment section. If today is your first time seeing this channel, please go ahead and subscribe and support. Let's get started with the tutorial. So these are my fabric. This is my fabric rather. I'll be using this mesh fabric, and this is my pattern. I'm gonna head to draft my front and my back pattern. So my back pattern is just not on fold, while my front is on fold because we need to make some alterations. Okay, I've also gone ahead to put some darts on it. So this is for my back, but we are going to be cutting it on fold because we are not adding any zipper to it. My fabric is super stretchy, so you do not need any zipper on it. Okay, so this is the front, and we'll go ahead and work on the front. As you can see, I added my dart, and the dart intake I took was about 1.5 inch. Okay, so you can take what works for you. And the neck width for this pattern is 2.5. Sorry, you can go ahead and go up to 3 inches. Yes, there is no problem with that. So where I want my twist to be is going to be on the left side of my top. So I indicated that if you want it to be on the right side, you go ahead and do that. So from the shoulder, I'll come down by 8 inches. Sorry, that's going to be remember the top has like an asymmetric neckline, maybe something like that. So we're going to try to create a neckline first. So we're trying to create the neckline for the dress before we do any alterations. Okay, so I came down by 1/2 inch, and then I'll go ahead and connect the other side to the neck point. So I'm just trying to let you know that my neck width is 2.5. It is not standard, please. You can go ahead and use up to 3 inches. Okay, it depends on you and your size as well. So I'm just going to connect this to the other side of the neck. Okay, so after doing that, I'll go ahead and cut it out, and then we'll move over to the next step. Okay, so after cutting this out, I'll go ahead and create the point where I want my twist to be. Okay, so I want it to be like around 2 inches. You can choose to do it up to 3 inches, 1.5, and all of that. So I'm using 2 inches. So on that point, I'm going to just mark 2 inches, okay, downward, and I will just connect it like so. But I'm going to alter this later because I wanted the effect, or the pleating or the gather effect to get to around the armhole. So I later altered this because if you don't do that, it's going to just be around the bust area. Okay, so I'll come to my shoulder on the left side, right, and I'm going to divide my shoulder. You can divide your shoulder as much as you want because we're trying to create, this is the part that the twist is going to be. Okay, so we're trying to create that effect around them. So we are going to go ahead and create as many as you want. Even though I went ahead to recreate that, like I decided to change the measurement. But if you're marking, let's say you're marking 3 points, the last one is going to be connecting to the that that is closer to it. Does it make sense? Then the second one will connect to the other dot, and then the other one will just connect to the side. So I would advise you just make three. Okay, three dot or three dot line is very much okay, or three star lines, or whatever you call it. So depends on what you want, but your paper doesn't have to be equal, but you can still make it equal. Okay, so your dot or your markings, your dot lines, or the part you want to use and do this slash and spread does not have to be equal, but you can make it equal. Okay, so there is no standard for it. Just go ahead and do what you want to do. So I'll go ahead and connect the second line to the second dot as you are seeing me doing. Okay, so make sure that you're not passing that 2 inches we marked earlier, so you don't your marking does not enter that 2 inches. Okay, so you see what I'm trying to do. I'm using my marker to just mark it, and that is it. So for the other one as well, I'm going to go ahead and mark that again and take it all the way to the side. I hope that makes sense. So I will just go ahead and mark it to the side, making sure that I don't touch my 2 inches that I said is going to be that twist point. Okay, so unless yours is not up to 2 inches, then you can mark it like that. Do you understand? Good. So that is what we have so far. Then I'm just going to mark out that point because we have to cut it out. And yes, like I said, we are going to change that line. We're going to alter it later on because I would want the effect, that's the gathers effect or the splash and spread effect, to get to the armhole. Because if you use it exactly like this, it's going to just stop around the, it's going to get up onto the bust line, but I wanted to stop around, I wanted to like get up to the armhole. Okay, if you use it like, it's not going to get up to the armhole, but from the start it has to get up to the armhole. So we are trying to make sure we are doing what we have on the inspiration. So I didn't take note of that, but I had to check later, and then I understood that okay, I did a mistake there. So follow me. So I went ahead to label all the parts. It is important to label it so you don't get confused. I labeled the neck for the two sides, the shoulder, the armhole. Please go ahead and do this, because along the line you might get confused. We are going to cut a lot of pieces, so make sure you label and you don't get confused. Okay, so I'll go ahead and cut this part, which is the right part, and I'll keep that aside first. Okay, so now we have to start our splash and spread method. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and slash the first dart, which is on the shoulder, and connect to the dart, the straight dart. So I'll just go ahead and open it up, because for you to close another dart you have to open another dart, right? So I'm going to open that. I'll slash it up onto the bust point, and I'll also open the other one to the other dart, and then this other one I'll open it to the side, but I didn't open it completely to the side because I was going to alter that later. So I will now go ahead and fold my dart, my waist dart. So remember, for this dart I already added that allowance back, so make sure you do that. Do your normal basic body drafting. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and fold my dart like so, and I'll use my paper tape to tape it all down. I'll do this for the other side as well, and then we'll secure it with your tape, and then we'll come and do the next process. Okay, so after doing that, I've gone ahead to tape it down, as you can see, and then you see that as to close the dart, this side, the shoulder has already gone up. Okay, so it has spread that part. Remember that I said we are going to alter this other right side, so I already brought it back, and I'm going to remark where I want this splash and spread to get to. Okay, that's the ruffled or the pleated effect or gather effect to get to. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and gum it back. Okay, so you'll see me, just take a look at what I'm doing, follow the process, and trust me, you're going to get it. So just go ahead and close it up, and then I'm going to cut out from that new line. So the right side now is now starting from this place and cutting. Okay, so this other side is now part of this other side of the paper. Does that make sense? I believe so. So this is now on its own, so this is part of this. So I'm going to just go ahead and open up this completely. Okay, not completely, but towards the end of the paper. Okay, so you can see what I'm doing, and don't worry, it's not hard, it's very simple. You just have to take your time and understand the whole process or procedure. So having done this, now I'm going to go ahead and spread this on my another paper. So we're going to make another paper, we'll introduce another paper and spread this shoulder as much as you want. Okay, so it's optional how you want it. Go ahead and do that. So I've gone ahead to place it on another paper, and I'm using my pins to spread it, and you can see that I'm not doing too much. Okay, so you can do as much as you want. If you want it, the splash and spread effect to be very, very obvious or very big, so you go ahead and do that. As for me, this is what I want. Okay, so on the shoulder, I'm just going to start from I'm matching the first and the last. Okay, so the other ones might not really match, but don't worry about that. So we're creating our new shoulder, like you can see now, and I've gone ahead to cut it out. So this is what we have for this part. Now we're going to bring the other side and work on it. So this is this other part. Okay, remember you are seeing the markings, the neck, the shoulder, the armhole, and then I'm also marking the down. So we know that part you're joining it to the other side of the top. Okay, now I'm going to divide this paper into 2 equal parts, and then we'll share it. So we need to splash and spread this pattern. Okay, so it's important you label this arrow that I'm doing here. Is very important because it's going to help you to remember which part is supposed to be facing which part. Okay, so I went ahead to mark that, and I also labeled middle. Okay, I measured after marking the arrows, I also labeled it as middle on the 2 sides. Okay, so it's important you do that, so you know that that's middle, which is going to be closed. along the line. So just follow me. Now I'm going to just use my marker to mark out which is the major center line which we're cutting out first, then we'll splash the other side. So this is what we have now. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it open, and then we'll also cut the other side. Okay, so just go ahead and cut this part. So you're seeing that the arrow indicates that these 2 points are joining at this point, which is at the middle. All right, so this is just me trying to illustrate. If you place that if you put or indicate that arrow, you see how the arrow will be facing downward at the end of the day, so that by the time you bring it back, it is now facing each other opposite. Okay. So don't worry, just follow me and you understand. So now we are going to be slashing from this side to the side. So you'll see where the armhole is. So we are opening towards that armhole line, or towards the armhole area. So we are not opening it completely. Also from this side, that's on the other side, which has the shoulder and the neck, we're also going to open it up onto the other side of the armhole as well. Okay, so you're going to slash that, and you're not opening it completely. So you can see what I have here. So we are going to be facing each other. Okay, so we are facing the center. That is the center, because the side, which is the armhole, is what is facing on each side of the paper. Does that make sense? So each of these two paper, the sides are the armhole, while the center is supposed to be around the neckline and the shoulder. So I'm just going to go ahead and spread this in another pattern, and I'll hold it on. You can spread as much as you want. If you want it to even be more, you can go ahead and spread more. So just go ahead and try it. So you see what I'm trying to illustrate. By the time you're done, you cut it on your fabric, you can go ahead and sew it back, and the arrows are still matching up. So it's important you try to do this test. If yours is not matching up, then you know there's an error. Okay, so I've gone ahead to match it up on my pattern. As you can see now, all the points might not really match up, but that's not a problem, so don't worry. So the shoulder side, you'll see that my shoulder, I'm just going to connect, because that other side is like the neckline, right? So I'm just connecting it slanted straight, and then the shoulder is still has the same shoulder. The shoulder is still the same thing. Then for the down part, okay, for the down, you can see what I'm doing. I'm taking the end, or I'm taking the other side that the paper is longer, and I'm just connecting it to the other side of the end, and then so that's what we have. And I'll go ahead and cut it. So there's no mathematics, you just have to use your head when you're doing this thing. Okay, so having done this, now this is how our pattern is, and this is how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be closed like this. Remember that arrow is facing, which is supposed to be the joining. So by the time you close that, then you have, don't worry, you understand as we go on. I've gone ahead to cut my fabric. So I've used my pattern to cut my fabric for the front, and I added allowance just on the neck area, and that part we are going to be joining to the other side. So the side of my pattern and the hem, there is no allowance, okay, because my fabric is very stretchy, I don't need it. Now for this other part, I also added allowance all around aside the side, which is the armhole line. So I don't want to add any allowance around the armhole. Then this is the back. I also went ahead to cut exactly what I have on my pattern, and then we are going to start the whole process. So I'm just going to remove all of this, and this is what my front, the other side, looks like, and you can see. Then I will bring the other side, which is a smaller part of the front, and we're going to unpin it all, and then we have to start sewing. Okay, please, as you're unpinning, take note of the down part. That's the part that the arrow is facing, because that's the down, that's the middle, while this other side is the shoulder, right? So I'm going to fold that into two. Okay, so I'll fold it into two, and I will sew. Okay, so what we're trying to do is to create like a hole where the other shoulder is going to pass through, and in that process is going to create that twist effect. Okay, so I'm going to sew from there, and towards the end I will stop by like half inch or 0.75 or even 1 inch. Okay, so you're not sewing completely. Okay, so for the front, I also, you can go ahead to fold your side, that's your armhole, and the neckline, which we added allowance for the neckline, not the side we're joining. You're seeing what I did there now. Then I also did that folding on that smaller part. I don't know, I lost the clip, and I also folded from my shoulder to where my neckline starts for this side. If you marked or you used your markings on your paper, you will definitely understand what I'm doing here. So on this hole now, we are going to pass our front or our shoulder to it. Okay, so you're seeing how I'm passing it from the up to the down. Okay, so I'm going to pass it out and bring it out like so. Remember that shoulder is bigger than our actual shoulder, but don't worry, we're going to plait it out later. So this is what we have now. You can see that this is the armhole for that side. That side is not going to have sleeves, so that's why we hemmed it, that's why we folded it. Okay, now this is the side we are going to be joining in. Okay, so you're going to match it up and then sew up onto the last part, the part that I notched. That part, I don't know, I think those clip I lost it, but if you folded that small piece into two, you will see the middle point and then just notch it. Now I've gone ahead to sew that part, and you can see what our top is looking like for now. So I'm going to bring the back. I also hem the neckline of the back, and then I will join my shoulders. So for the shoulder, you're just going to go ahead and join the normal way you join your shoulder. Just close it up, and then for the other side that the shoulder for the front is bigger, you're just going to go ahead and pleat the excess in using the back as guideline. Okay, so we're just going to match up the end and then pleat the excess you have around it. So I've gone ahead to do that. I've closed the shoulder for the two sides, and you can see what I did for the pleating side. I pleated it slightly. Okay, so now we are going to go ahead and impute our sleeve for the other side that we are putting sleeve. Remember, it's just one side that has sleeve. I know it doesn't really make sense right now, but don't worry, just finish up and then when you wear it, you'll see what your dress is going to look like. So I'm going to go ahead, I've gone ahead to cut my sleeve, so I'll just go ahead and sew it, and after sewing it, I'll show you guys the final look. If you've watched at this point, why have you not subscribed, why have you not given us a like? Please drop a like, drop a comment in the comment section, subscribe to the channel, and please, that's the only way you can support the channel. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next tutorial. Bye.